Awesome. Wow. Day 7. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It's been a journey. Thank you so much for sticking through, for coming back all the days, and chiming in with all the different topics that we've covered. So just like a small recap, we did mindset, we did branding, marketing, sales, systems, and today we're doing team and leadership. I would say every day is my favorite topic, but teaching team and leadership is absolutely my favorite topic. This was my beginning. This was one of the things that I was very successful with in my corporate job. And when I came out as a solo entrepreneur, I'm like, I don't have any people to work with. I'm going to do this on my own. That was a hard transition because I was definitely used to my team. There was over 1,000 people before I left, and I made the pivot to my own business. So I really understand the power personally of what it takes to make impact with people, right? Because I always think everything is, you're either helping people are supporting you in your vision mission, or you're doing something else, for people, with people. So everything we do, learning leadership and learning how to influence other people and really, craft that vision mission towards them so they can really see themselves in it, so they are able to work on purpose and support you, right? And the vision and the mission and the cause and all of that good stuff is what makes great companies, because you've seen it, right? I mean, every great company out there has people that is helping them carry anything forward. We can only do so much, as entrepreneurs on our own, right? At the beginning, we all start that way. But in order to continue to grow and make the impact, the income we're looking for, we realize there's only 24 hours a day and there's only one of us. So unless we just, want to stay small, I mean, that's the only way I can describe it, right? I mean, how much can you do? Even if you are burning yourself out, and trying to do it all on your own, how much can you actually do? There's going to come a time when you are going to experience a lot of that burnout and all of that. So I feel team, especially with today's automations, today's technology world moving fast, today's, tools that we can purchase to maybe, get the substitute, I guess, something that, tasks that a team can do. I don't think there's a replacement for human capital and human investment and the return on the investment that you make on your team, no matter how much technology, right? And also it depends on how you want to position yourself in the market, right? So if you're going to be a brand that is leading with value, then of course the human touch is always going to be needed in your business. All right, no matter how many emails we can automate, no matter how much funnels we can set up on the back end, no matter how many ads we can run, right, for our marketing, there's always people always need to speak to a human being, and to have their questions answered, to have the information personalized. So, there's always going to be that need. So I think it's really important to learn how to get your first couple of people in the door, depending on where you are in your phase and stage. If you already have people supporting you, how do you grow that team? And how do you bring in the right people in your team? And then if you have that going for you, right, how do we structure leadership levels, right? Once you're in that middle bucket where you have people in your team helping you with the different metrics or the different, let's say, departments that you have happening in the business, the next level would be how do you structure your leadership, right? Because I always say that a good effective leader can only manage 5 people at one time, right? So that's just something from experience to share with you. So once you get to 5 people, then you want to start structuring leadership, right? Because at those positions, people get paid to think with you, right? It's not a matter of just execution. At the beginning, your first, couple of hires, I always share, I hired my first VA at 6 months in the business. I would have hired her earlier. So I do think that, getting someone right away, it's helpful. However, it is also helpful for you to know exactly what you're doing first. That person that comes towards you knows exactly, what she needs or he needs to be effective. Devani, did you have a question? Or maybe.
No, I didn't. I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was unmuted.
No problem. Okay, no problem. So I would say that would, be your first couple of your first hire, and hiring someone right away, even though it might look scary, or you might not even have the budget. It will take some time for that person to get familiar and start to produce ROI for you. I'm not saying this is a magical process. You need to invest in the person, right? Because they need the knowledge. They need to know exactly how to support you, right? And things take time. But of course, eventually, just like any investment we make in our business, you should be expecting an ROI on it, right? Especially if the person that is coming on really understands the tasks that are that they need to perform for you, so that it's being tied to that bigger vision and mission, right? But that, comes with experience. Another big point for team is always, where do I find the right people, the right qualified team members? I see team as clients. If you have a clear vision message for your brand, right? You have a good brand, you have a story behind your brand, you are there for just cause, right? We spoke about that on day 3, I think, when we were doing branding on day 2. It's the same way. It attracts the people that you want towards you. Just like you want to attract your clients, your brand story message attracts the people towards you as well. So it does 2 things. So you creating that, brand, that culture in your brand, your messaging, definitely also starts attracting the right people towards you. So it's really, I look at it really as the same process of not prospecting, but going about, attracting the right clients in any company or business. It would be the same for the team. You want to do the same thing. You're just attracting the right people. But I would say the first thing is to really, at the beginning is go back to the system we talked about on day 1, recurring tasks. So what are some of the recurring tasks that you're always doing that has an ROI, for you, and that you can hire someone to do, right? That's kind of, simple way to kind of like figure out, okay, who is my first hire? I would say go to the recurring task, and that's how you know. The other thing is when you have bigger projects, let's say you're about to write a book, right? That's a bigger project. You might want to hire a contractor to help you with the process, or you might, depending on where you are with the business, you might already have that process down packed, and you might just need to hire temporary help. Right? So not everything in business is, especially in the online business world, is things that we need to do at all times in the business. There is recurring projects that always happen, and there is one-time projects like a launch, or we're writing a book, or we're setting up a funnel, or we want to invest in learning about ads and investing in ads, right? So if this is not something that's always happening in the business, that you just might want to consider hiring someone, and that will give you a great return on investment rather than you trying to figure out on your own. I mean, we talked about mentorship the other day, how important it is. That's why there are professionals out there and they exist, right? But I would say if you build a bigger business, then you want to invest in departments. You want to start making these things your processes, because long term, of course, you have a healthier company if you have your own people doing the processing for you, right? You have your own ad person, you have your own marketing person, you have your own, I don't know what else, your own PR person, right? Rather than hire outside contractors. But outside contracting is good when you are growing the company, but when you have enough of the team and you have the right people in the right positions eventually structured, then I would say that it would be best to, hire them as part of your company, because you're always, you're always going to need to, grow the company, and you have that vision already. Some people, they don't have that vision. They don't want to grow past a certain amount. So obviously it makes sense that you are just taking care of that project that you have, and you want to hire a contractor to help you temporarily and give you the results you're looking for. That makes sense for that phase and stage that you're in. But I would say if you're going to go, build a legacy business, you want your own people, you want to structure the company that way. So you have the people in the right departments that you are looking for. So I would say those would be the who, right? So clarify the positions. Who do you need? What are the recurring tasks that you need? And then eventually, as you grow the business, I always say you always need a marketing person. You always need sales, right? Sales should be its own department because sales are ongoing, right? So ongoing. So always need a marketing team. You always need a sales team. I would say you always need a PR visibility team, right? Because you constantly, want to be visible with other communities in the media, other places, right? To engineer your visibility at all times. It's not something you do once. You just, that's just branding. You just always got to be branding yourself, right? Your brand's got to always be out there in the world. So I would say those are some of the things. And then, of course, financing, lawyer, ensure that we have those department, a lawyer, hand, finance department, accounting. Those are always the departments that are always going to be crucial to the health of the business. Because again, it takes a team, right? As you could see, like it takes a team. You want to hire your people that complement you, right? You need the knowledge of a lawyer, you need the knowledge of a finance department, because you need to know how your numbers are doing. How do you make decisions if you don't know how you're doing and your numbers are off? So, as you grow the business, all of this kind of just positions itself and you structure that the company that way. But it's phases and stages. You're not going to start there, right? You start a VA with a VA. Well, you start on your own, and then you start with a VA, and then you upgrade, right? And I would say after that, I would say that you need a marketing and sales, because that's the lifeblood of the business, right? I mean, where is the need of a finance department if you're not making money, right? So you need a marketing and sales to give you the fund, the cash flow, and all of that, so that you can then have money to manage. So you can have a CFO or CEO later on, depending on how you're going to grow and structure your leadership, right? Because a lot of people go through that route. The bigger the company, the more you realize where you want to stand based on your strengths, based on your area's expertise. So if you don't want to, if you're maybe not a visionary type in the business, I made content about this actually. I might tag you, send it to you guys on the 3 types of leaders that a company has. So we have a visionary, we have the entrepreneur, and we have the operator. So operator is the manager. Operator is detail oriented, the person that manages day-to-day details. That's your operator. So operator, you need an operator, otherwise how are you going to hold all of this stuff together? And it's just not one thing. It could be an operator in every department, depending how big your business is, right? But I'm just saying in general. And then you have an entrepreneur, someone that knows how to monetize all the ideas. And then you have the visionary, which is your artist, which is coming up with new ideas all the time and innovating new things all the time. But if you're just visionary and you don't have the other skills of an operator, right, or the entrepreneur, you're not going to know how to monetize these ideas, and you're not going to know how to execute them, right? Which is why you need so many of the other players in the business to help you. And you learn through doing and practice to be all of that at the beginning, the visionary, the operator, because you got to do it, you got to execute, like who else is there? But then that's the beauty of, as you grow, you bring other people on your, you're here, and then you bring other people alongside with you so that they can help you with all these other things, which is why, we have companies that have teams and people, right? And they hire for positions and all of that. So that's really in a nutshell how that happens. Kind of just how, sometimes like, how do companies have people, how do they know who to hire and all of that? So in a nutshell, that was what I, do with corporations a lot, help them structure their team, their leadership team. And then of course, train, coach, and create a culture, right? Because once your company becomes bigger, obviously the culture, I say culture, you have a culture day one, you're the one that's first, the person that creates your culture with your actions, discipline, and all of that, the way you show up in the business, your values and all of that. And then as you grow slowly, you have 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, 5 people, then you create the culture of the company, right? And then of course, the bigger, the more people, the more, you're gonna really need to have a very healthy culture, because your culture is gonna dictate the performance of people, right? And what people believe, and what is that vision, what is that mission, is either gonna inspire turnover, people are gonna stick around, or are they going to be lifers, just like I say to clients? Are they going to be, or are they going to stay with you for a long time because they see growth, they believe in what you do, they understand that their work has meaning? So in order to make sure that you have low turnover with your team and you attract the right people, not the people that are not a good fit with your culture, you do definitely want to ensure that you are investing in your inner culture. It's just like a family, right? We have a culture in the family, right? I mean, depends how people treat one another, right? The values of the family, sometimes they're unspoken maybe, but there's a culture everywhere. And your culture inspires the right fit talent, or it really discourages or brings in, if you have a toxic culture, complacency, people throw, blame one another. They don't want to work hard, right? All of that's going to translate into everybody else. And it really takes one bad apple to spoil the whole bunch. So, that's important too, but that's kind of like, culture as far as that is concerned. But I would say team management is something that's, really important. But online, sometimes this kind of gets lost in the track, because a lot of online businesses just rely on tools and automations. So they might just not really see, they want to do it simple, they want to do it lean, they don't want to have people, that they're worrying about, right, or responsible for. But what I teach is legacy business, right? So that's based on your ambition, right? Based on your ambition. But I would say at least have all the information that you need, so that you can make the right decisions. And if you have a big vision, then of course you also have to know that the only other way to make it happen is through team, right? Or you could just suffice yourself with just having the right automations, maybe have a person or 2 to help you, or 3. There's plenty of 7-figure online businesses and 8-figure online businesses that have a small team. They just have like 5 people on their team because they have structured it that way. And you can do it that way too. Not everybody wants the bigger build team, but to each his own. It's just like anything with business. You choose, right? You as long as you have the right information and what you need, you also choose how you want to build a business, what aligns with you. Maybe you don't see that, under your umbrella, your brand umbrella. You only want to serve, in that capacity, and that's what you choose. So to each his own with this as well. But yeah, just so you know that in order to build a big company that makes an impact, definitely you need team. And once you grow to 7 figures, team is everything. It's like systems and team, which is why these last 2 parts of my framework are at the end, because of the people that are maybe at that phase and stage, right? At the beginning, you don't speak so much about systems and team if you're just within your first couple of 6 figures, especially online, because you could do it organically, right? And you probably just do it through your business model with a couple of high quality clients. And you don't even need, a team yet. But if you want to move past, then you also have to structure your business model differently, and you also have to structure your mindset differently, and you want to focus more on systems and team, because again, there's more movement around you, there's more things happening around you, so obviously you need a way to structure that differently through systems and hiring the right people or the team. So guys, let me know in the chat, how is this resonating with you? Where are you, by the way, with your team? Sarah, I'm not sure if you have one, or Devani, at the beginning, 0. Do you have anyone helping you out now? Where are you with your team there?
Oh, I'm just recently looked for an accountant because I thought I was the most important person first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I'm looking, and
yeah.
maybe later would be a VA would be an appropriate team member, I guess.
Cool. I think definitely an accountant, even day one, because you need to do your taxes, right? So you need to understand what you're doing there and how to maximize that experience to ensure that your taxes are correct. So I think an accountant is healthy at the beginning, but then as you grow, you want to have more, as you have more things to manage, sales, team, maybe invest in a 401k or other things for your family, and depending on the health of the company, then definitely someone that's more personalized in the finance department would definitely do. At this point, I am too, but I also started the same way with an accountant. Bookkeeping, we always hear about that. I would say if you're not in this area, there's accountants that do bookkeeping. So I did that at the beginning. But some of you, if you are in that area, you want to do your own books, more power to you.
I think it depends on the business too. And our business, I mean, we don't have a lot of expenses, so I would keep track of it myself. It's not a problem. But even if your business has a lot of expenses, I would even recommend a bookkeeper, because it makes it hard to. My background is an accountant, by the way. I studied accounting, so I would say a bookkeeper would be a good idea. But I think if you are in areas that doesn't have a lot of expenses, but I think I can keep track of it myself. But definitely another accountant to do the taxes and all those things, because I haven't practiced in accounting in a long time. Accounting.
Absolutely. I definitely would share the same opinion, and pay yourself first, but you have to really know what is going in and out in the business, and you have to have good, tracking measures for that, because it might seem like you might not be doing a lot of sales or at the beginning, but it's also good practice for you to learn kind of how to have a healthy relationship with this area in the business too, because a lot of people, this just derails a lot of drama. And I know for me, it's done, you'll kind of like, I don't want to look at it, but because of a personal experience, there's a lot of money mindset, I think, blocks that holds people back from looking at their finances, because you just don't know what their personal experience has been like. For me, it was I had to do a lot of because I saw a lot of lack of money in my home, and every time bills were coming and piling up, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like, a lot of fear based, and a lot of scarcity mindset. So I think this area is very loaded with that. But yeah, definitely understanding what phase and stage you're in. And a lot of times I think people don't know, like, oh, I don't know, do I need a bookkeeper? Do I need an accountant? Do I need, just like with hiring, well, who do I hire first? Like, who should I go with, I think it's like those beginning questions, but then, once you grow and you learn how to have a good structure around it, it helps you. It's all support to support you. It's supposed to support you at the end of the day. And they're all important. We can't neglect that area as well, because there's so many, things that we can do with taxes, and we might not even be claiming as entrepreneurs, because we could claim really a lot of things that we might not know. So that's why the experts, there's
especially working from home, there might be expenses you can deduct. Personal expenses that you can deduct as part of your business expenses. But of course, as you said, a professional might know we don't want to do a trial and error.
Yeah, no trial, and plus learn as much as you can about it. With everything, I ask a lot of questions, because the more knowledge you have, the more you know who is the right thing to do, what's the right thing to do. Because a lot of times, we're not aware in all the, we're not versed in all these areas, right? I mean, I don't have an accounting background, so I don't know. Like, I didn't always know, but it really helps to educate yourself. I think the more education you have, the more you can make the right decision for your company, and also the phase and stage that you're in. Because Devon is like, I am the team. I think she's just starting out, right? So That's where we start. I was a team myself. It's like me, myself, and I. It's like, where is everyone? How am I going to do this on my own? Because of my experience. But most people don't have that, awareness. They're just like, okay, it's me, and I'm going to grow it from here, right? You can only grow up from here. And Corey, I know you're kind of, in that other side slowly and eventually getting someone to support you with everything you're doing. But yeah, it's all, and don't feel bad. Like, that's the other thing. It's like, oh, I know I could have, like, just know it's okay. It's perfect where you are, but that does not mean that you should not get the information based on where you're trying to go. Let's kind of put it that way. That's been an affirmation for me. I'm like, where am I trying to go? So then I need to fill the gaps, between all the things that I'm trying to do. And you don't always, get all this information one day, right? You just kind of connect with that slowly, but connecting with the right people, building meaningful relationships is always the key, because at any phase and stage, there's always somebody that's been through something that you're looking to do. And, their advice saves you, I don't know, time and money. So I think
Yeah, it's great that you're including this, because as you said, it's important to have the awareness that you may not need it right now, but as you grow, you have to think about it as essential part of your business to expand your team. So knowing that these is really important. You can hire a VA, and you do have like a bigger team or legal team or marketing team, or all those things. So
absolutely.
knowledge is important.
And think ahead. I always think ahead. I'm like, even if I don't need it now, the awareness, the knowledge, the people I'm learning or meeting along the way, I do that all the time. I compartmentalize, whatever that word is. So kind of just like keeping it there, but then I don't know if it's a priority for me right now, but I know maybe somewhere, because I always say we're always in growth. That's why I love meeting other purpose-driven entrepreneurs that are always growing, because I'm like, even maybe now you are not looking for that, but later on you will be looking for it once you have the awareness that there is a new problem that you're encountering and you need a new solution. Sometimes we're not problem aware or solution aware because we haven't been at that phase and stage yet. So I think that's why we're kind of, not knowing. So for me, it's the awareness. It's like, oh, I need to know, I need to have that as well. And you kind of just piece information, but build your network. This is true, back to what we said in day 2 and 3 marketing. Build your network, have the right people, in your network, because every time you're going to need something that you want, you're going to go to the trusted people. Like, where do you go? I go to the people that I met that I trust, and be like, I think, what you have is something that is valuable for me. And, this might be the time that I'm looking to implement that in my life. So it's just an army, build an army of people and relationships. And it really helps you when you need it most. That's something that always helps as well. So yeah, I think that's really cool, sharing that experience on your end, Sarah, too. So when it comes to leadership and the team aspect, I kind of wanted to just kind of give an overview again. I didn't want to go to detail because, again, you're all in different phases, especially in here as well. So, but kind of future casting how companies build and how you structure out these positions eventually. I think it's maybe filling those gaps for the future casting. If you maybe do see yourself later on growing, a team, it's like you have a bigger view of, okay, here's what I need. And then when that information comes towards you, your awareness is already risen. So then you know how to capture the right information and meet the right people, because we all know, spirituality and all of that, how things kind of, once you are aware, you start to see the things you need to see. So, kind of understanding how to structure and lay that out is really important. As far as like, getting the right people, where to find them and all of that, there's all these methods and platforms. I mean, if you're looking for your first VA, obviously your best place is through your network, right? The people that you already know, or these Facebook groups, right? There's a bunch of VAs, right? There's a lot of VAs that are offering their services, but I find that everyone is going to offer you their services, but you need to know what you're looking for, because a lot of times entrepreneurs, it's like, I need a VA, but you don't know, they offer different services. Some of them do lead generation, some of them, just help you with your content. Like, you need to know what you want, right? And a lot of times entrepreneurs might not have that awareness at the beginning. I know I didn't. I'm like, maybe a content I should do on my own. Maybe I should hire for that or that. That's why I said, go back to your recurring tasks. What are always the things that you need to do? And now, even through this workshop, kind of connecting everything, being like, okay, here's the thing that I always need to focus on in the business. So let me hire someone that's going to help me ongoing with that. And clarify, for this year, what are my major projects? Do I want to, maybe write a book or start a podcast, right? Or any other thing that you might have, or maybe start launching or creating more consistent events, right? Depending on where your focus is, you need to get, people to help you, support you with that. And that's the one thing that I love that I do with my clients, because I focus them and they already know, like, these are the recurring activities in the business. So you constantly are going to do these things in there. So let's see, who is it that you can bring on board based on your budget and your goals that is going to support you ongoing moving forward. So it's not just a one-time thing that you are doing. And that's kind of how you grow, step by step, right? So that's that. A reflection question for leadership. So based on this information, I guess the bigger vision of leadership or hiring a team, where do you see yourself with this? Do you see yourself having a small team, a small and mighty, they call it? Or do you see yourself, having a bigger team around you to help you with your vision and mission, and just kind of have that reflection with yourself, and just be mindful that you're just going to make that decision based on your awareness level at this point, right? The more you grow, the more that expands. I shouldn't say, actually, I always knew I was going to have a big team, because that was my experience, and I love doing it. So, but everyone's journey is different. Some people might not have that awareness or experience. So just know that whatever you decide now is not necessarily going to be, the forever thing. I learned another word in life. It's like, never say never. Just because you don't see it now does not mean that it's not going to show up later. So stay open, stay very open to your experience in life and business, because you'll always, keep new things are going to show up that you thought, like, I don't know if this is something I was thinking of doing. But if it came towards you, there's a reason why. If it aligns with you internally and you're doing your inner work and all of that, that's a different topic. But if you're doing that, then it's kind of the thing in your path that you want to accept it, because you're meant to, to impact people that way. So staying open from all these different angles is always helpful. But I always say that to myself too. I'm like, I can only make the best decision based on my awareness level and my limitations of the moment, which I don't see. I mean, just remember that, like, neuroscience talks about this. And it's so true, because I can't make a decision if my awareness has expanded, right? I can only make it based on this limited world that I have now and this limited information, and just rest assured it's the best decision, which is why I don't believe, sometimes in going back in life and be like, oh, I wish I could have done that. I'm like, at that point, that's all I knew. So that's all, that was all I made the best decision and choice within that information. And in a way, it makes you more aware that you want to expand your consciousness, so you make more informed decision based on your inner calling and your future potential and all of that. So it makes you want to expand that, which is good, but also helps you forgive yourself for things that are not always in your best interest, but you just didn't know that at the time, and the timing was off. So it just gives you, for me, I never go back. I just go back to reflect, get the lessons. I'm like, at that point in time, that was perfect the way I did it. I just, keep going, moving forward. And that way you never stay stuck. You're always moving along, you're progressing, you're evolving, and you're doing small millimeter shifts, and you process improving all the time. And that's really, that's really all that's required at the end of the day. So thank you, ladies. I want to give you back some of your time. I want to thank you all that have been, sticking through all the different days. I really hope it was helpful, and it gave you some of that, insight, I guess, or awareness for the new year and moving forward for all the years and with what you're trying to create in your business and life too. So I appreciate your time, Sarah. I would love to speak to you.
Thank you.
Like, the teacher is like, I love to speak to you at the end of class. I had a great time with Devani yesterday.
Thank you.
Corey,
Thank you. It
I
was
will
great.
see you soon.
Thank you so much, Elona. This has been great.
Absolutely. It was always my pleasure to share my knowledge. Thank you so much, Devani. A lot of info, had major insights. So glad. Yeah, that's why I do it. That's the impact. I think all of us want that. And Devani, you want that with what you want to do. And Sarah and Corey, that's always what we're looking for. So awesome. All right. So I'll see you ladies later.
All
Take
right,
care.
thank
Thanks so
you.
much again. Bye-bye.
Bye.